Recording. Up there we are. Hello, hi folks. Okay, this is part 2 of the Blender2Substance and back sort of videos. Hopefully you're still awake after that very long video of the first one. Sorry for the length, but as I said in the video itself, nature of the beast when you're doing UV unwrapping. I mean, even the immortal Chris Kunn, it's not, shall we say, his favourite subject. Okay, right, Substance Painter, here we be. Just get my mug down there out of the way a bit. Pull that in a bit, there we go. First thing we want to do, new project. Standard metallic roughness thing, select our mesh. And I saved it as CKH Mask 0. I'm going to leave the document resolution at 1000 for now, just because, or 1024 to be precise. Just because my machine is not exactly a power horse. So, okay, pull it in. There we go. Hold the Alt key down, and that'll tell you your camera movements, which is handy to know. So you just rotate these and zoom them in like that. So, and we have our texture sets. The texture set pertains to all of the materials within Blender, not the objects, the materials. I've called them all the same, so technically they are the same objects. And then in each texture set you have your colour, height, roughness, metallic, normal. To which I add an ambient occlusion and an opacity. Then bake mesh maps. And just bake all texture sets. This is the first thing you absolutely must do within Substance Painter. I've seen a few people complaining they get very odd results when they try to apply materials, especially smart materials that rely on things like crevices and bumps and what have you. And because you haven't baked the maps, then there's no curvature map, so it can't figure out where the crevices and the bumps are. And there are no normal maps, and immediately I can say I've got an issue here, and I know what it is. I did not redo my UV map for my colour, for my tank and yellow. That's fine. It'll allow me to show you something. My mistake has actually, and you can tell it's a mess if I press F3 or F1 even, where you can for fit, and I choose said texture set. You can see it's overlaid. It's a complete and utter mess, and that's because I'd forgotten to redo it. That isn't the issue you think it would be. If I just launch Blender, let me just desktop Blender. I've got my gas mask there, so I can select that, go into edit mode, and oh yeah, look at that, it's a mess. So Control A, Control P, pack, happy days, right, save this mesh, and again select save everything, and I shall export the FBX, and I'll export it to the same mesh. Make sure I set up my settings, selected objects, -Y forward, mesh, geometries, bump, 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 bump. All the box standards. You could set that up as a preset, which would speed matters up in the future. Okay, I'll resave that. Goodbye. And get my ugly mug back over there. Substance. Now what I can do is I can go edit, project configuration, select, reselect that item, okay, and now I can select tank and yellow, go here, bake mesh maps, bake mesh tank and yellow. Ta-da! That's one of the great things about Substance Painter. You know, you can change your UVs and rebake them, and even if I had a material applied at that point, it will have still have worked. So F2 to give me full view on that again. Okie dokie. And now we just start throwing textures at it. It'll create an empty layer. I never use it. And that's just, you can leave it there, it doesn't do any harm to have it there. Some smart materials expect something underneath, so if you put, say, something like bright green or bright yellow on that, and you see it through your material, you know that the smart material actually wants a base layer to work off. So first things first, what we're going to do, I'll tell you what, let's look for glass. This will be the quick one. Glass. Drag it and drop it onto there, and it's assigned it to everything. That's fine. Right mouse button, add mask with colour selection. This is where IID mask comes in. Pick colour, dump, ta-da! That's that. Just that easy. You gotta love Substance Painter. If you're new to it, really, you'll wonder how you survived without it, because it makes texturing an absolute giggle. Even for a complete idiot like me. So okay, we want the straps. So let's say leather. Leather bag, bull leather. Let's drop the bull leather on. Bump. And again, we'll say the bull leather will have a mask with colour. Bump. Alright, that's way too big, obviously. So click on that. And then just knock that up. Say 12. How's that look? My viewport isn't, oh god, 121, no 12. Duh. How's that? Do you know what? That's up close and personal like. That's not so shoddy. If it looks a bit blurry, what you can always do is just go to the texture set, knock it up to 248, and it gets revised. 1024 is a bit small, but you can see actually, you know, that's fine. We'll take that. That's all super duper. Okay, so that's that done. That was painless, wasn't it? Fabric, because I'm mad. Jersey printed fabric. Let's drop that onto the tube. Boom. 8, 12. Go somewhere in the middle. 10. There's the sliders a bit much. I mean, I'm holding the shift down as I'm moving this, by the way. So, and as you can see, sometimes it lags a bit. But you know what? What the heck? That's cool. We'll take that pattern. Coral, flower. Not quite sure you'd have flowers on a gas mask, but hammer stroke. Yeah, we'll have that, shall we? Pattern colour. Let's make that a really dark one. Muck about with it. Let's see what's going on actually. Oh, yeah, that's subtle. We'll have that. Okay, that's that one done. It really is that quick. Okay, let's get a bit fancy for the other stuff. Tank. So let's see what we've got in terms of metal. We've got quite a bit metal. Yeah, we'll have that. Bump. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a, actually I'm going to put this into a folder. So I'm going to create a folder, call this tank. Get the metal, drag it into the folder. Then in the tank folder I'm going to add a colour selection and just choose the green, so it's not affecting. If I don't do that, yeah, if I picked the yellow as well, then it uses everything. But I can delete the yellow, so it only stays with the green. Right, so that's that, and I'm actually going to clear that, and I'm going to go with Smart Materials, Paint, and Steel Painted. Painted steel, or steel painted, or painted metal. What do we want? We'll go painted steel, and we'll stick that above the metal. Like that. And I'm actually going to add a black mask. Actually, let's invert the mask. Invert the mask, so it's a white mask. I'm going to go to my brushes. I'm going to select dirt. DDD dirt 2. I'll use dirt 2 a heck of a lot. Control and right mouse button to move that along, and zoom in, control right mouse button, and going to go down. We'll set the colour to grey. Oh, I need to add a paint layer, silly boy. Add paint. And I'm just, again, let's knock that up to 2048. It'll look a bit nicer. It's slower to process, but control up and control down controls the. I'm moving my mouse up and down here, or you can do it with the flow. If I do down this, boom, I'm just adjusting the brush flow. We'll show a bit of metal through, you know, because yeah, why not? It's pretty cool. There we go. Like that. Bit of metal here, because it's a bit of wear, you know. As I say, it's, you know, if you can't produce a decent material in this, you're not trying, and I'm not trying. But I'm here all week, folks. So there you go. Anyway, that's the tank, shall we say? That's the tank done and dusted. Okay, so we can close that up. Now we want to do the yellow. And what do we want for the yellow? Trying to think here. A nice sort of bronzy colour, maybe. Or gunmetal. I wonder if we've got a gunmetal. What's the metal damage? Dark metal coated. Let's try that, shall we? Boom. Let's add a mask with colour selection. Pick colour. Bumper. And there's those done. Let's see. Base. Let's change the base colour, shall we? Turn that dynamic off. Yeah. You know what? Yeah. Metallic. Let's much more metallic. There we go. Yeah. Stuff it. It's good. Metal base. Have we got edge work going on there? Grunge and scratches. What have we got here? Grunge amount. Different. Yeah. Oh, I'm liking that. Whir level. And dial it right back. Yeah. So anyway, there's that. And that leaves the mask. And what we can do, we can select the mask, hide all, and just the mask, so we can see what we're playing with. So, obvious one for the mask would be rubber, wouldn't it? What have we got? Rubber dry, rubber tyre dirty, plastic rubber. Yeah, plastic rubber. Just dump that on. Dump. And surface details. Dump. 8. You know, that's. Do we want to ramp that up? Does it make any difference? If I ramp that up? No, that's not doing anything. This is where it gets interesting with this. Is changing the damage, changing the balance on these, and seeing if it, finding out where exactly the bump comes from half the time. An easy way actually is turn off the levels. If you turn off some and see what happens. Alright, surface details looks like the guilty party. That's definitely. Whoa. That is pretty intense, but I'll tell you what we want to do is we want to, let's see what happens if we decrease the opacity on that. Nothing. What about you? If I take the opacity down, no, we don't want to do that. Okay, let us choose the height. And we can control the height there, so I want it a bit more subtle than that. This is it, you can play away with, play to your heart's content here. Right, now I want to add metal again, and we'll have some. Oh, that's nicely gross, isn't it? Let's dump that up there. And let's add a colour selection for that. And we'll have that. Oh, isn't that nice? Not. Right. That's pretty ugly, and it's a bit much, frankly. So we can, we'll total that. We don't want that. That's just a little too intense, to say the least. How's that? Do you know what? Maybe let's slap a colour selection on that. Yeah, now don't worry about that, that's where the seam is, but this is again where Painter sort of shines in terms of when you're mucking about with seams. So that's alright. What we're going to do is we're going to add a folder to that, call it bits. I'm going to drag that into that folder. Oh, drag that folder into that folder. You're going to do it? You are not. Why are you not going to do that? You're not working. Why aren't you working? Let's undo a few steps. Let's close that folder up. Let's add a folder. Drop it in. Thank you. Now let's put a colour selection on that folder. There we go. Right. Let's take that. I'm going to add a paint layer. I'm going to make it pass through. Going to zoom in. Going to use the clone brush. Again here I think I'm going to whack that up to 2048 so it looks a bit better. Let it sort itself out. You can tell the progress at the bottom. I'm going to pull along and let's do the clone. Clone relative source. We're going to choose a brush. and we'll choose the basic soft. Zoom that right down, and V, and just it is pass through, isn't it? And replace. No. Just bear with me a minute, I'm missing something here. Okay, I tracked it down eventually. That's the thing with Substance Painter, sometimes you've just got to wade through the layers. It's the sharpen. And that's why my clone wasn't working, because the sharpen's a filter. So I just disabled that. And let's just see if we can... There's a bit here that looks like it's part of a seam. Shrink that down. I'm just going to see if we can clone this out. No, we can't. So again, that looks alright. So that I'm gonna, let's see, I'm gonna try adding a layer above that, which is a paint. And I'm gonna make that a pass through and see if we can do anything here, and we cannot. I have to admit to not being a master at Substance Painter, as you can tell. Sometimes I can seem to be able to get the to get this working, and other times I just can't. I'm just not that familiar with painting over the seams. I've managed it once or twice, so I'm just going to be a coward and just not do it. We could try here, I suppose. Maybe add a layer over there. Making any difference? No. There's got to be somewhere we can do it which will make that thing work. I'm going to get rid of that because that's not doing a thing. So, oh, let's try adding a layer in here. Let's stick a paint in here and see if it does it. See what happens. There we go. Here we go. That'll do. It just blurs the seam out a little bit. It's all super duper. Alright, that's fine. Rust, we'll do the same in the rust. And we'll... Oh, that's not good. Substance Painter just crashed. Ouch. And guess who didn't save it? Alright, just bear with me. I'll get back to where I was. Okay, we're back. I've got it roughly to where I had it before. And what did we learn in school today, Colin? We learned to save your work, is what we learned. Alright, smart material. Where was I? Before it kicked up its heels and threw a wobbler. No, I don't think you'd want oil around a breather, would you? That would not be good. That would be bad news. Rusty metal. Yeah, go on, why not? You can also, instead of just dragging it onto the mesh, you can pull it up there as well. And again, I'll assign a colour selection. Ah, that's pretty intense, isn't it? But that's alright. What you can do is you can go into here, choose height, and you can just play with the height setting and take it right down. So it's a much more subtle result. And it's that simple. And you can say, okay, I'm happy with that. All you need to do now is export the textures. So we've got everything set up. We can choose export textures. You've got various configurations you can play with. Some of these are my own. I started off with that and modified them. So this one exports the ID map, the opacity, an OGL normal, because that's how Blender works, because the normal is DirectX. So I just use that, and I just called it accordingly. You can use packed ones if you're exporting elsewhere. So I use that one. PBR, MR, OAAP, blah blah, no emit. I happen to have set my my path accordingly. I have a folder for it, and then I just export. Now it will give me some errors. I don't want the shader parameters, I can live without that. And it'll give me some errors on some of the things because I don't have an opacity map for some items. Indeed, I only have an opacity map for the one with the glass. But it's going away and it's writing everything. Dum, dum, dum. I could pause this, but it's going to be finished soon, so what the heck. There we go. And done. I can open the folder, and if we take a look, see, we can see, like, there's our. Don't worry about these bits here. That's just literally where the texture isn't in the bits of the UV space. You can control that if you want. It's called the dilation, and you can control how you output it. So you can get your configuration there. Now where was the dilation? Dilation. You can choose infinite or dilation and transparent. No padding. I just leave it at infinite because it works. And so I've now saved that as an SPP file, a Substance Painter file, so I can pull that up anytime. So that's my mesh as it was in Blender with these settings, and as I'll show in the next video, I can come back in here, make changes, re-export the textures and pull them back into Blender. Using the live link, I can do it while Blender is open and just keep switching between the two tasks, make a change, switch, check it in Blender. And as I say, for now, we can see here, I mean, there's the ID map. Now if you wanted to make a purely black and white mask for ID maps within Blender for use for texturing, I was just thinking about this before. What you could do is, like, you could take the mask, there's your UV layout, you could export your UV layout and use that to actually paint a mask in something like Photoshop. So if, for example, if we say export UV layout and shift that, call that 2048, and let's make the fill opacity 0.5, say all UVs. I can call that gas mask UV, let's just stick it in the root directory, gas mask UV, and export the UV layout. Okay, goodbye. I'm not going to bother saving that. Blender resources. Boom. So there's my layout, and I can then pull that into a paint program. Waiting for said paint program to load. I'm a big fan of Serif, what can I tell you? So add a layer, and I'm going to duplicate that layer, then turn that off. So I've always got the original. Go into there and fill it with black. Okay. Alright. Then I can just add another layer there. See? And I can go white. Where's the colour? Dum colour. Choose a brush. And I can just paint this bit here like that, and that is going to be a mask. If I zoom in, so there, I'm just building a mask for use in Blender so I can use it when I'm texturing. And I can say, again, you can just choose bits and bobs of this map. Where's my navigator? I say I'm going to take that and mask that out. You get the idea. You basically select the bits you want to mask out. So wherever it's white, the mask will apply, and wherever it's black, it won't. And you can do that, and you can create as many masks as you like based on the layout. So it's a way of creating multiple ID maps, if you like. But the ones Substance Painter wants are these guys, which again are based on the vertex colours that you did within Blender, as opposed to the UV. You see, that looks like nothing, but if you zoom in really close, you can see that the texture is where the actual UV islands are. So there we go. Anyhow, they will be the maps that you use within Blender, and I will see you in the third part, which is the final part.